The paradox of AA is until you admit and understand and accept complete defeat, you're not going to get sober. At least that's my experience. This is the Daily Reflections for April 25th, entitled Entering a New Dimension. In the late stages of our drinking, the will to resist has fled. Yet when we admit complete defeat, and when we become entirely ready to try AA principles, our obsession leaves us and we enter a new dimension. Freedom under God as we understand Him. It's from As Bill Sees It, page 283. I am fortunate to be among the ones who have had this awesome transformation in my life. When I entered the doors of AA alone and desperate, I had been beaten into willingness to believe anything I heard. One of the things I heard was, this could be your last hangover, or you can keep going round and round. The man who said this obviously was a whole lot better off than I. I like the idea of admitting defeat, and I've been free ever since. My heart heard what my mind never could. Being powerless over alcohol is no big deal. I'm free. And I'm grateful. And I'm grateful. And I'm grateful. Well, I wish this was my experience initially, but it wasn't. When I entered the doors of AA alone and desperate, that I can relate to. I had been beaten into willingness to believe anything I heard. For me, that came later, after a whole bunch more pain. I wish I would have gotten it sooner, but it took what it took. And the irony was, it took me waking up in a psychiatric unit. It took me losing my career as a naval aviator, as a pilot, which I had set up as the ultimate thing in my life and the only thing that was giving me validation. So when that was taken away, I had a bit of a crisis. I wasn't doing well in my head. The first time I went to an AA meeting was in Pensacola, Florida. I think in 2002 or 2003. The memories are a little bit foggy from that first year or two. And the more I went, the more offended I got at how happy these people were. There was laughter. People were nice, super nice. And people asked me how I was doing and really meant it. And they asked me to go do stuff with them. And they didn't want to sell me Amway. Maybe they did, but they never asked. These were borderline strangers that cared about me or were asking about me with no angle. When we admit complete defeat, we become entirely ready to try AA principles. Our obsession leaves us and we enter a new dimension. Freedom under God as we understand Him. Again, not my experience. Because even though I could admit complete defeat, because I admit it, I mean, I could give the, lip service to, yes, I get it, I'm powerless over alcohol. But I truly didn't believe it. And that's the crazy thing. I had all this evidence, like being locked down in a psychiatric unit with a giant prison-style heavy metal door with the window and the wires in the window and the to get out. Yeah, that's where I was. And I couldn't get out for a few days. It's called the Baker Act. However, when I truly accepted that I was powerless over alcohol, that I was 100% defeated, that's when the obsession left me. I had been beaten into willingness to believe anything I heard. That did eventually happen to me, but it took more pain. I wish it didn't. There's this saying that you don't have to take the elevator all the way down before you get off. Conceptually, I understood it. I had an awareness of this concept, an intellectual understanding of this concept, but it was a concept that I didn't have true belief in. And it's kind of like money doesn't bring you happiness, right? That makes a whole bunch of sense, but yet we spend our lives chasing money, buying things to make us happy, just to suddenly realize later on in life that none of it mattered. And maybe we should have took a trip with our family. We made some memories instead of having the new TV. And that's the really sad part, is it takes a massive amount of pain. It takes a massive amount of tough situations before there is lasting change. And I think that lasting change comes from true understanding. And you can't fake that, unfortunately. But the coolest thing about being a drunk, I mean, in hindsight, right? It's not fun when you're a drunk initially. And in a way, it's a bit like a rite of passage. Maybe like Hell Week or something in a fraternity, when you have this shared adversity. And I never thought about it this way, but there's some organizations like fraternities, like the Navy SEALs, for example. It's about the training, but it's also about the shared adversity to bring a team together and then to understand what you're truly capable of after you go through these monumental trainings that are mentally taxing, physically taxing. I think the same thing applies to getting sober. It's almost like a screening process. Like it's God's screening process. Bear with me. So, in the Navy, you have to go through BUDS. It's a screening process. In flight school, you go through IFS, Introductory Flight Screening. It's very difficult. You fly a lot, and when you're not ready. Sometimes you fly drunk. That's another story for another day, though. I think the point I'm trying to make is that we're the lucky ones, right? Our trip through our journey to sobriety, we had to go through so much of self-discovery, of humiliation, of self-loathing, about understanding that the world as we know it wasn't true. That's all difficult, right? Very difficult. And I wanted to hold on to those old ideas. I wanted to hold on. I couldn't fathom that I was wrong. I couldn't fathom that what they were saying is truthful. I need to stop drinking. There's some problems associated with it. But the whole, I'm afraid of everything, the whole, I gotta go help other people, the whole concept of truly surrendering. I'm strong. This is just, the only reason I can't drink is because I'm weak. If I just get stronger, I'll figure out that I don't have to drink, or I'll figure out how to drink properly, right? To smash those ideas in that belief system that is deep down and really, in my case, instinctual. And the step 4 talks about it in the 12 and 12. It talks about instincts 19 times in that chapter. To completely disassociate with a world that you lived in unconsciously and just accepted as truth. And then to have to relearn, metaphorically, to walk. And more importantly, at a very foundational level, relearn how to think about what life is like is a very difficult thing to get through. But if we do, we're forever changed. And the path to what is the most real is through the hardest things that we can do. So I believe that drunks, alcoholics are truly the lucky ones, chosen by God. I think this is God's screening process to build up a person from scratch that can then go out and do his work, her work, the universe's work, whatever it is, which really comes down to being kind and helping others and thinking of others. Pretty good one. I think I may have gone a little bit too far on this one, but this is where it led me. The paradox of giving up, surrendering to have complete freedom. I liked the idea of admitting defeat. I did not. And I have been free ever since. There's that paradox. Complete defeat leads to freedom. My heart heard what my mind never could. Being powerless over alcohol, no big deal. I'm free and I'm grateful. Truly. Oh, man, that's a good one. If you are struggling to get sober, please go to a meeting, talk to somebody, get a sponsor, get a few numbers, give them a call, go and have coffee with them. If you are in recovery, congratulations, you're one of the lucky ones. Reach out to somebody, one of your buddies, and go to a meeting, obviously. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.